Hello, I'm back again. Now, I want to apologize first for all of those watchers of this channel early on before I am posting this video because I already deleted 2 tries of where I was doing this video and my audio was cutting off. And then when I rebroadcasted it went back to the old title. So let's start again. Welcome. If you were here earlier today, then you probably already have seen this stream. But if you haven't, welcome. I'm going to kind of go over things really quickly so it's not repetitive. But we'll go over the same things that I did go over previously, and I had to remove that video. Anyway, to the point. Sony has decided to keep open the PS3 and PS Vita stores after fan backlash and pressure. Now, an article was released on their PlayStation blog today, which discussed basically what their decision was. Now, in this PlayStation blog, which was actually posted by Jin Ryan, president and CEO of Sony Interactive, he said, recently we notified players that PlayStation Store for PS3 and PS Vita devices was planned to end this summer. Yada, yada, yada. After much consideration, we're going to keep them open for the foreseeable future. So I'm glad we were able to find a solution to continue operations. I'm glad that we can keep this piece of our history alive for our gamers to enjoy while we continue to create cutting-edge new game worlds for PS4, PS5, and the next generation of VR. So what does this mean? Well, it's kind of like, when fans speak, it's nice to see that a company will actually listen, because we've had so many situations where, companies will make decisions and think that they know more than what the fans know. And I think recently, especially when it comes in particular to the video game industry, if you don't do, or at least if you act in a way that isn't at least in line with what the fans of the brand actually appreciate and want, then we're quick to move on. I mean, if you think about it, back when PlayStation 2 came out, and that was a long time ago, but I remember that so many were loyal to PlayStation brand after the success of the PlayStation 1, that PlayStation 2 was just even better and it blew up. So Sony had this like, okay, now we are a market leader. Xbox couldn't compete at that time. So before the announcement of PlayStation 3, which they wanted to have like next generation graphics and everything look awesome, they went against the fans and kind of charged an obscene price of $599, which is infamous. And when Xbox 360 was already much less, like $300 at the time. So you did something that fans didn't appreciate, and fans responded with their wallets. And for much of that console generation, we turned to Xbox, or a lot of fans turned to Xbox, even PlayStation fans. Flip over to the more modern era of PS4 and Xbox. Xbox was kind of riding high on its coattails because they were like, well, we did so good with 360, they're just going to want to move in with the Xbox One. And what happened? They decided to do that DRM that nobody liked. Sony took advantage and they learned their lesson. Sony kind of realized, you know what, if we don't do what the fans want, we're going to get screwed. And then people came in droves. Granted, there were a lot more reasons, but people came in droves right back to PlayStation. And PlayStation was a huge success in the PS4 era. Now we have a very sensitive time where there's limited availability of Xbox Series X and PlayStation. So the tide can turn at any moment. And the tide can turn especially when you have bad PR and marketing. And this was one of those blunders that PlayStation could have screwed up. Now, when Xbox screwed up their DRM announcement, and if you don't know, Xbox One was going to have a DRM where basically you can install a game in your console and then you never really needed to put that game in your console again. It'll just work off of an ID so that you can play that game pretty much anywhere. However, you can't lend it to like a friend or anything like that because they have to have the original code. So and then trading in was not easy to do in that circumstance. But Xbox thought, hey, people will love to be able to play their games without having to find their discs. But unfortunately, that didn't work because people want to be able to trade their games want to be able to give them back. So that didn't work out so well. And when Xbox reversed that decision, the damage had already been done. It was like a couple of weeks later when Xbox was like, you know what, we're not going to do it. We'll make sure not to do it. And Xbox One never actually had that type of DRM management because it was like a day one patch where they took that away. But now you have Sony kind of screwing up, or granted a different situation, but Sony kind of screwing up. That could have been already too late with pushing people over to Xbox Series X. However, fortunately, there's a supply issue right now, which doesn't really help many people, though a lot of people were actually speaking good of Xbox because of the way they handle their backwards compatibility, so much better than PlayStation. So then moving on, now you have a situation where PlayStation's realizing, okay, we take that back. Xbox still looks good on this situation, but then PlayStation had something else looming, which was the fact that they had that little issue with the CMOS battery. If you don't know, consoles, unfortunately, the PlayStation 3, PlayStation 4, PlayStation 5 has this internal battery that when it dies, it won't let you play your digitally downloaded games, which is unfortunate. Now if you have disc games, that should run okay, but digitally downloaded games won't run. And patches and whatnot you won't be able to get. So that's unfortunate. But the PS5 was also recently discovered to have that issue as well, which is sad. And if you've got a digital only PS5, you're SOL. That's a paperweight. Well then, Microsoft didn't jump on that. So one would wonder why wouldn't Microsoft jump on that? Well, it turns out, and specifically I think for the Xbox Series X, it won't even let you basically play any games, whether you have them disc-based or not. It's just done because it needs internet connection right when you're setting up your account on the system, which is unfortunate. So no wonder, but that's a separate issue that has to be taken care of. But luckily, us as fans are able to capitalize on the fact that Sony's not getting rid of those stores. You can still, I still use my PS Vita. I bought it in 2012. I have it to this day, and I play it almost, if not every day since. My favorite features are remote play, definitely remote play, and then some of the games on there that you can't get anywhere else, like Uncharted, is one of the games that version of Uncharted you can't pick up anywhere else, which is pretty cool, and it's a great game, and it looks amazing. So anyway, those are my thoughts. I wanted to redo this, and if you've been here before and you heard all these comments before, I apologize for doing this all over again, but I was having audio issues whenever I would switch to this camera angle. It's be like, can't hear me. Well, I know you can hear me now. I just had the audio settings turned off. But leave a comment. Let me ask you guys something. Does this kind of take you away or pull you away from the PlayStation brand because of what they're doing, or does it actually make you like PlayStation even more? Because you know what, they'll listen to their fans, and if we don't like something, they'll actually cave. And do you think that they'll come up with a new, better backwards compatibility solution for PlayStation 5 or even PlayStation 4? Let me know in the comments down below when you see this. And as always, thank you guys for joining and putting up with me and subscribing. I've got more videos planned, especially one that has to do with a little Street Fighter online tournament that I had for myself, and it's pretty good, pretty funny. But that's coming up in the future. See you guys later, and thank you. Bye-bye.